had always been drawn to the old library in our town. It stood on the outskirts, surrounded by ancient trees that seemed to whisper secrets in the breeze. It was a place where time had stopped, a haven for forgotten books and stories. And on one fateful night, I found myself alone in that eerie place, shrouded in darkness. It had been a rainy evening, and the library's heavy oak doors creaked ominously as I pushed them open. The dim light of the flickering overhead lamps barely penetrated the vast expanse of dusty shelves, casting long shadows that danced across the towering bookcases. I ventured deeper into the labyrinth of books, the floorboards groaning beneath my every step. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional sound of rain tapping against the windows. It was the perfect setting for the research I had come to do, delving into the town's history for my latest writing project. As I searched for the right section, the atmosphere grew increasingly suffocating. The air felt thick and cold, and I couldn't shake the sensation of being watched, but I dismissed it as nerves, attributing my unease to the eerie surroundings. Finally, I found the section I needed, hidden away in a corner of the library. The books were old, their pages yellowed with age, and the smell of decaying paper filled the air. I pulled one of them from the shelf and began flipping through its brittle pages, searching for any information that might help with my research. Hours passed, and I lost myself in the musty tomes. I barely noticed the storm outside intensifying, the rain now coming down in torrents. Lightning flashed, briefly illuminating the darkened library and casting sinister silhouettes on the walls. That's when I heard it, a faint, distant whisper. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. I strained to listen, but the words were indistinct, like an unintelligible murmur carried on the wind. I shook my head, attributing it to my overactive imagination. But then it came again, louder this time and closer. "Help me," it pleaded, a voice choked with despair. I whipped around, scanning the rows of books, but there was no one there. Panic welled up inside me as I realized that I was alone in the library. No one should be whispering for help. My curiosity got the better of me, and I followed the voice, my footsteps echoing through the silent aisles. Each whisper seemed to beckon me further into the heart of the library, deeper into the darkness. I knew I should have left, should have run out into the storm, but I couldn't resist the pull of the unknown. The voice led me to an ancient wooden door, partially hidden behind a bookcase. It was cracked open just enough to reveal a narrow staircase descending into the depths of the library's basement. The whispers emanated from below, growing more urgent and desperate. I hesitated, my rational mind telling me to turn back, but my curiosity and a strange compulsion urged me forward. I crept down the staircase, the air growing colder with each step, and the faint glow of my flashlight casting eerie shadows on the walls. As I reached the bottom, I found myself in a dimly lit chamber, filled with rows upon rows of shelves laden with even older books. The whispers were louder now, coming from a corner of the room. And there, in the dim light, I saw her, a young woman, her ghostly form barely visible. Her eyes met mine, and they were filled with pain and sorrow. "Help me," she repeated, her voice trembling with desperation. "What can I do?" I asked, my voice trembling as I approached her. She gestured to a book on a nearby shelf. "Find the book," she whispered. "The book that can free me." I looked at the shelf she pointed to, and found a book that seemed different from the rest. Its cover was leather-bound and adorned with strange symbols. I reached for it, and opened it to a page filled with incantations and diagrams, written in a language I couldn't understand. Suddenly the room grew colder, and the whispers intensified. The young woman's form began to flicker, and she looked at me with terror in her eyes. "Hurry," she urged. "You must read the incantation to release me." I hesitated, unsure of what I was getting myself into, but the urgency in her voice compelled me to recite the incantation. As the words left my lips, a surge of power coursed through me, and the room trembled. The young woman let out a haunting scream, and her form disintegrated into a swirl of ethereal mist, vanishing before my eyes. The whispers ceased, and the library was once again plunged into silence. I stood there, trembling, in the dimly lit chamber, realizing that I had just set something free, something that had been trapped for centuries. With the book in hand, I hurried back up the staircase and out of the library. The storm had passed, and the night was calm. I walked away from the old building, knowing that I had experienced something beyond explanation, something both terrifying and otherworldly. And as I glanced back at the library, I couldn't help but wonder if I had truly set the young woman free, or if I had unleashed a malevolent force into the world, one that would haunt me for the rest of my days.